What's up, everybody? Here, Rick at Bear Forex, and today's Tuesday, August the 11th, 2020. And I'm here to do a Tuesday update now for my weekly charts, as well as throw in some daily chart action. I would like to note, however, if you are somebody who likes to read my blog, which can be found at bearforex.com, you can talk about gold. Gold slipped 5%, which I don't want to say I predicted, but I did just feel that that rally was just unfounded. It was way too crazy. And now that things perked up just a little bit in the U.S. government, here we go with price sliding down 5%. I actually got stopped out of my gold trade on the daily, and I believe the weekly trade also got tagged, which is not for nothing. I mean, it was a gigantic fall, and that's people cashing out and moving to other things. It was to be expected. If you'd like to hear more about what I cover, which is the Japanese pairs, as well as Brent crude, the S&P 500 index, West Texas Intermediate, and gold, you can do so by visiting my Patreon page for more information under Bear Forex. So, today we're going to start, as always, I'm going to start with the weekly charts. And it has been run-of-the-mill in terms of what I believed was going to happen has happened, which is not much. Daily, weekly charts are like that. They are very slow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my charts now, and it's pretty much like I said. It's what I expected was going to happen this week. There's really not much going on. It's kind of on pause here. Let's see. 3, 2, 1, live. Live check. Okay. So here we are on the Aussie dollar and on the weekly charts, trading from Awanda. And you can see right here, same as last time. I knew this was going to happen. Price is just starting to curve. I mean, there's really going to be not much to this video, guys. I'm sorry. There just isn't any action. There's not much going on. Price is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. It's very stagnant because the U.S. dollar is way, way, way oversold. It's ridiculously oversold. And it's going to start turning. I mean, what do you want me to say? I honest to God, I have no clue what to tell you. I was trying to come up with something catchy, but there's just not much going on. There really isn't. I'm looking for an entry point. Depending on how much this moves next week, we'll see. I don't think so. But I am looking for an entry point. And if I did, my target is going to be 68, 0.68. That's going to be my target. If I get in anywhere, this is going to be my target. Now, why is that going to be my target? That's going to be my target because of all this traffic here. Looks like a good spot to put some, take profit. It's also a relatively good area nearing a Fibonacci point. I'm not going to start throwing on fibs, but yeah. So, but other than that, there's no trade open. There's not really much going on this one. Unfortunately, I think the next chart, Euro USD, same. I mean, this is a good sign of a reversal. It's actually a really good sign of a reversal. I think that the euro is probably going to continue its downward trend. That is going to depend on what Washington does. If they decide on a stimulus package within the next week or two and set America up back on track and relax on all the COVID nonsense, then perhaps we can pick up some steam again and get back to where we were, which was crushing the euro, because the European Union really has no clue how to run all those different countries at the same time. So with that being said, this is a classic example of the 1, 2, 3 crash. The spike is not as high as I'd like, but I mean, last week I said this was a pure indecision candle, and it looks like people are starting to cash out because of that indecision. Good news coming out of the United States, so we're going to see what happens. I mean, in all honesty, I'm looking for a break probably around I probably wouldn't short it until somewhere in this general area here, probably in between 16 and 1700. This is going to be my buy area, most likely. We'll see what happens in this zone, and then my ultimate goal would be down here at 12. I don't think it's going to happen, and if it does, it's going to unfold over several months. But again, on the weekly charts, it's a way different beast than dailies and 4 hour. This is long term outlooks. And my long term outlook is still weak on the euro. I don't believe in the euro as a powerhouse. Again, I mean, here, you can just tell here, its height was in 2008 at the height of the financial crisis in America, which then spread worldwide and created some chaos. And ever since then, it has yet to recover. So, I don't believe it's going to go anywhere just yet. The European Union, again, is always in shambles. They got, if and when they ever finalize this Brexit deal, I believe Brexit's already priced in, but I also believe that other countries may want to start leaving too. Quietly, I believe possibly Germany might be thinking about it, and France also might be thinking about it. Not for nothing, they are the two countries that are basically holding up the rest of the European Union. All the pigs countries, they're in shambles, and they're probably going to stay that way. If you don't know what pigs are, feel free to use DuckDuckGo and type in PIIGS, and they'll let you know what that means. Or you can go over to my website at bearforex.com and read some of my articles there. I actually talk about pigs. And yeah, so that's it for that. Moving on to the Great British Pound. Basically, it's looking just like the euro. You can see where here we have a triple strike area. I like to see triple strike areas because more often than not, triple strike area means it's going to come back down. I do not foresee it going up just yet. Pound is a different beast than the euro. If you zoom out, though, you can tell it is weak against the dollar overall over the same time period, practically. So I don't see it long term going anywhere. I think it's going to continue on its trend. This current weakness over the last several months has to do with coronavirus and the presidency and all that other good stuff. That is the fundamental part of it. The technical part looks to me like price is going to come crashing down. I'm looking to enter around, I'm going to say between 28 and 29 most likely, and I'd like to see a target of maybe 25. My ultimate target would be right here around 21. I doubt we're going to get back down here anytime soon. I don't think the pound is going to weaken that much unless some crazy numbers come out in Great Britain. Who knows, though? Here's the thing, and this is going to be true for the next several weeks to months, is we won't know the economic damage of what this so-called pandemic has done to countries until the numbers come out. We can pretend to know, we can we can guess, we can make educated guesses. The truth is you're not going to know until the numbers come out. And numbers are always lagging. So any number that comes out is from previous days, months, weeks, or years, quarters, whatever it is. I fully expect once the markets or once this pandemic thing subsides in the next couple of months, most likely after the election in America, which is when they'll decide, okay, that's enough, depending on who wins, is when they'll start turning off the fear-mongering on all the bought and owned main lamestream media, I should say. For those of you who don't live in America, the lamestream media is bought and owned by for-profit companies, which means you can't really trust anything they say because they all have an agenda, and their agenda is money. They also have backers who pay them good money to pretend what the news is. So anything on the national level, anything you can't go walk up to prove, you know what I mean. You guys know what I mean by that. We can't prove a lot of the stuff that the media is saying, and quite frankly, behind the scenes, I know a lot of people who just don't trust the news anymore. So we have to wait for official government releases. That's as close as we can get to what the truth is, because that's the information that they're giving everyone. So even if it's a lie, that's what we can trade off, because they're not going to give one set to one group of people and one set to another. I mean, the elites, they're already going to know this stuff ahead of time. But I mean, in general, they can't lie or change the numbers, well, once they come out. So, with that being said, this still looks the same here. I foresee it to come back down. The overall on the weekly is down for years. Again, so I'm looking for entry probably between 29 and 28 with a goal somewhere in this general area. I'm not quite sure where. It all depends on what it looks like. So I will see what that looks like later. Now we're going to move on to the NZD USD, which is starting to curve its way down. It's still, these are very small, which is good because I like it that way. I'm looking for an entry probably between 65 and 64. Or I'm looking for an entry, between 65 and 64. If I get in at 65, I may hit an initial target of 64. Then once it breaks that, wait again for another clearing to head down further. Because there's a lot of traffic right here at basically what is 64. Which a wait and see. Sorry, I know it's just repeating myself, but that's how this market is. It's a lot of waiting, especially on the longer charts. You want a good entry. You don't want to burn your money. So we're still waiting on that entry. Moving on to the U.S. CAD. Price seems to still be hovering right around this level here. This 133 seems to be a good spot for it to hover. I'm waiting for an entry to give me probably below 132 maybe. It's probably a good opportunity. Or if price bounces back up, which it very well could. Just depends on what the news is. What's the news and who says what will always affect the market. Canada relatively is keeping quiet about its serious financial distress. They can pretend our kind neighbors to the north are they're in trouble. They're in trouble. They're having beef with America, as always, because we're very different. Even though we're very close, we're very different nations in terms of our beliefs. We're very freedom-oriented, and they are not very freedom-oriented. Let's just be honest. Any country that tells you things you can and cannot say is a crime. If they stifle free speech, even if it's racist, you can't pick and choose what's free speech. Either it's all free speech or there's no free speech. And they're also hypocrites. They're illustrious idiot of a leader, dresses like blackface. He talks smack all the time. He's so transparently pandering to this lefty political movement, the political correctness movement. It's ridiculous. And quite frankly, our government doesn't really trust him, and I wouldn't either. I wouldn't trust anybody who kisses everybody's butt and, anyway, I'm not going to get into that. Canada's dollar is weakening. It always has been. They're dependent on oil, and oil is down, and I don't know how much fracking they do over there, but I know that the Saudi cartel makes sure that oil recently has been bouncing between 35 and 40 to discourage fracking, because it costs more than that to frack. So they want to stay in control, and that's what they're doing there. So long term, I believe this is going to bounce back up. I don't really see it falling that much further. If it breaks 133, then there's going to be probably a move to the downside to the low of 1.29 at most. I do not see it bouncing past that. Not really. No, I don't think so. I don't even see a reason why it would. except maybe if there's some dismal numbers coming out of America. But honest to God, I don't think there is. I mean, our stock market's up, our COVID numbers are down, our our infection rates are starting to subside. I should say our cases, quote unquote, our cases are down, because that's all it is cases, which means you just tested positive. It doesn't mean you're sick. It doesn't mean anything. It just means cases. That's the numbers they're scaring people with now, is the cases. 33 million people live in California. A couple of thousand died. While sad, it's not much, and it's nothing like they said it was going to be. So again, you start adding up all these positives, and I think that the USD CAD is going to turn around, just like the USD Swiss is already poised to go back up. Honestly, I think this one is probably going to accelerate the most out of everything that I cover on the USD. This is just my gut feeling. I don't know for real, but my gut tells me that this is probably going to be the one to accelerate the most. This is probably going to retrace 50% from this low. I'm waiting for an entry around 92.50, between 92.50 and 9300, and I'm looking for it to climb all the way up as high as 95. This is just what I believe is going to happen. That's all trading is. It may or may not work, but that's what I'm waiting to see. That's going to be some good numbers. It's probably going to unfold over the course of a few weeks to a month. Again, everything is dependent on these big charts. It's mostly dependent on the long-term outlook, technical as well as fundamental, which is like news and all that. And finally, for the weekly charts, we're looking at the USD JPY. It's just still doing nothing really. It had a nice big up move today, or this week, but I think most of it was today. And you can see 1, 2, 3. See, here we go. First hit, second, third spike, and now it's starting to turn around. I don't really like any of this, though, to be honest. I still don't know when or if I'm going to get in, because there's a lot of spikes up here too. And I mean, if I did, it would probably be between, I'm going to say 107 and 108, or 108 and 109 will be somewhere as my entry. And I will be doing short TP, short take profits, at the 110, 111, and 112 levels, at 100 pip intervals, only because this thing has been very erratic. So I'm not really sure. I don't even really plan on trading it. I will have to wait and see what happens. But until that point, I'm just on a wait and hold here, because this is just really a mess. There hasn't really been any solid trend moving in months. As you can just tell, this is just a short look here back to September, and there really hasn't been nothing smooth. It's been very erratic, lots of spiking, lots of ups and downs. Although it overall went up over here, it's just not. I mean, look at this. You can just see, like, this is not tradable. This is just not tradable. Not tradable at all. So again, it's just a wait and see on here, and yeah. So I'm not really liking that too much. So now let's go and we'll do dailies. Welcome to the daily chart. The daily chart I will cover on Tuesdays and Fridays, telling you what I've done during the week. And if and when I move stops or open any trades, you'll know about it if it happens on a Tuesday or a Friday. I'm going to include this every Tuesday and Friday, and I have future plans to do it every day. It just depends on how many people I get to come to my channel. The more people, the more information I'll give out, because I'm not going to just sit here and do it if nobody's listening. But we will start again with the Aussie dollar, and you can see there's a big traffic jam here, which reflects what we see on the weekly chart. I am not in any trade right now. I closed a trade last week when price spiked up, but then I started hitting traffic, so I closed it. On the daily charts, there's a little bit more, there's a little bit more opportunity here. Although this range here is tight, we can see that the range is just about 170 points. Is this range? I'd like to see it to break out. I'm looking for it to break out to the downside. I'm really going to be pro USD over the next few weeks, because I think it's the USD's time to hit back once all this nonsense is subsiding. I mean, for God's sakes, you got even hardcore lefty Democratic mayors are getting sick of Antifa and Black Lives Matters because all they're doing is destroying their cities. When and people saying it for years. Funny article. If you guys can find it today, August the 11th, 2020, try and find this. Is the mayor of Chicago, I believe her name is Lightfoot, has been praising and saying, oh, they're just little protests, But today, she came out because they hit the richy rich neighborhoods of Chicago. Now, all of a sudden, their protests are now violent criminals who are breaking and stealing things. When it was in the poorer neighborhoods or not in the donor neighborhoods, it was fine. But now it's in the Gold Coast of Chicago. So now she's angry, and now she's saying, oh my God, this is all nonsense. Arrest people. Yeah, anyway. So the Corporation of Australia doesn't look like it's going to be surviving too much longer. I'd probably say, in all honesty, I'm looking at an entry point probably around the I would say 70-50 area. Probably around the 70-50 to 7,000 even. And I'm looking for you could probably guess by now, my price target's probably going to be right around here. 68.50 is probably going to be a good area. So that's not a bad run. It's not a bad run at all, but it's a wait and see. We have to get some good news out of the United States, some bad news out of Australia, and I don't know if that's just going to happen. So we'll have to wait and see. Moving on to Euro USD on the daily charts. Traffic jam again. After a nice up move, of which, let me pan out a little bit, there was a lot of profit to be made here and here. There were some nice moves, and I collected a good amount of that, but now we're in this again. See, expansion, rest. Now, are we going to have expansion or retraction? My opinion says retraction. That's just what my opinion says. You can see we had the same thing here. There's a nice up move, and then we had a bunch of somewhat retractions, more traffic here before a nice up move again. Now here we are again. My gut tells me down. We'll have to wait and see. Currently not in any trade. Price as of right now, as of this recording, is bouncing right along the same line again. Right? I just call it the 1700 line is basically where it's fighting. It's fighting to get through that. Hopefully it will, and then we can make some trades. Moving on to the pound dollar, looks nearly identical. You pan back, it's nearly identical, same thing. So, same thing. Nothing going on, bunch of traffic, just waiting. The NZD is a bunch of traffic again over the last couple of days. This is really not tradable right here. After this big move here, it's been kind of stagnant. It tried to make it up, but didn't look like it could do much. And here we are again. Surprisingly, I thought that the New Zealand dollar would have been doing a little bit better, considering they haven't had a quote-unquote infection recorded in 102 days, except for today. But remember, everybody, their economy is very small. They're, the smallest detail will really screw up their economy in New Zealand. We're going to move on to the U.S. CAD. And again, there's just a bunch of traffic here. There's nothing really smooth going on. I'd like to see price break below this and close in this area around 132. I'd like to see a 132 to the downside. I don't think that's going to happen. Then on the upside, I'd like to see price close above 34.50 on the dailies before we can make a move. And if it did, my target would be right around 36.50, about 200 pips away. If it broke that, then the next levels would be right here around 137. If it breaks that, you're looking at a free fly up, way up into this region. Don't get your hopes up. I don't think it's going to do that. And if it does, it's not going to be fast. It's going to take its time going up there. USD Swiss, again, sorry, but there's nothing happening here. I nearly got into this I nearly went along, but then you see this spike here. I didn't really like that, so I'd like for price to clear this area. I'd like it to clear 92.5. If it clears 92.5, I see free ride all the way up to 95, 94.50 to 95. That's what I see. That would make it 100% retracement if for all you Fibonacci freaks, but again, I don't think it's going to do it that quickly. We'll just have to wait and see. I know I say wait and see a lot, but that's all this is waiting and seeing. And last but not least, we have the USD JPY, of which this spike up here was a surprise to me. I didn't think, because no other pair on the USD had a big move today. I just didn't think that this was going to happen. I mean, there was no way for me to get in anyway. I was waiting for price to close and break above the 106, which it did today. But I'm not too keen on taking this position just yet, because that's a big candle for this pair. A 53 pip move in one candle is a lot for the USD JPY. So I'm just gonna wait and hold on that, because I think tomorrow it may retrace a little bit, and I'd rather for it retrace and then I can get back in. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So that's going to be it for that. Shut the charts down. Okay, I know it wasn't very exciting, but that was my first showing of the daily charts, which you can look forward to every Tuesday and Friday here at the Bear Forex channel. And I will see you guys. I need to edit and post this before the market closes, so I will see you guys on Friday with an update for weekly and daily charts. I apologize that there was no trade executions today, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. There might be some on Friday, or there might be some tomorrow, but they won't be posted until Friday. If you'd like to get all this information as it happens, feel free to visit my Bear Forex Patreon page. There you'll read information and see how you can listen to me live, even right as I'm trading. It's all there over there. If you'd like to read my blog, visit at bearforex.com. Follow me on Twitter at bearforex, and you can email me at bearforextrading@gmail.com. So everybody, have a good one, and we'll see you on Friday.